wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Members
For the
of
next
the Wrestle
2 hours,
Talk
we
family.
will bring you the latest.
Want to welcome everybody into episode 455 of the WTP, and boy, oh boy, what a pleasure it is to be here with you all. Thank you all for joining us. I am not going to be doing this alone tonight. No, I do have a very special guest host coming on to join the show while we get through what's assured to be one of the better episodes in recent history here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Why? Because there is a ton of stuff going on in the world of professional wrestling, and our guest this evening, he's not a dog, D-O-G. No, he's a dog, D-A-W-G. Not necessarily a fan favorite at the moment, because the heat that he garners throughout the Midwest, particularly down in New Breed Wrestling, well, it's second to none. Pretty damn excited to have Mr. Money, Mike Pettis, joining us on the show in the second hour. No, he did not pay for his opportunity to come on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. He was solicited by the Wrestle Talk Podcast to talk about the recent happenings over at New Breed Wrestling. But again, guys, that is in the second hour. During this first hour, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to bust out the flag. We're going to hear from DJ Money. We're also going to get into the high spot segment. And like I said, there is a ton of stuff to talk about in the world of professional wrestling, not only nationally, but also internationally, as we are not too far away from the upcoming Crown Jewel pay-per-view, which I do want to know. I do want to know how everybody's feeling about our sports being slowly diluted down and being taken away from us. We'll talk about those during the high spot segment. But you saw the Jags play twice in London. You're seeing more and more WWE shows go overseas to Saudi Arabia. And by the way, the international fans, legs, leaps, and jumps ahead of American fans in terms of the energy that they bring to the building. But anyway, we're going to spend all day talking about that. My co-host should be here in just a matter of moments. But what we are going to do before we really kick this thing off properly is we're going to give props to, of course, our wonderful sponsors that make this show possible. So if you guys would allow me I would like to give some love to Royal Mills Transportation, Rathbun Engraving. You guys will see that mug here in just a matter of moments. Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KC Mo. Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. Interstate 70 Sports Media. Little Popeye Designs, you guys already know. I'll show you this one now. The Wrestle Talk Podcast Tumblr. Get them ordered now. And, of course, the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion. And the heat begins already. Apparently, us making it to the championship last year wasn't enough to impress Sonny. That's fine. Make it to the finals and then come back and see me. It says, I bring the energy in every sporting event I attend. You do. But you know what? You're far and few in between, Sonny. I'd actually love to have you join us if you have a moment. That'd be great to have this conversation during high spots. But, man, from the Puerto Rico show to the show in Scotland where everybody thought Drew McIntyre was going to win the championship, dude, we just can't hang. I mean, Chicago, Philly, there's a few New York, there's a few places that kind of bring the heat, but man, the international flavor is crazy. And as a matter of fact, I want to hear from you guys. If you can't come on, if you're not able to join us at the moment, like give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Give me a thumbs up if you agree that the international fans are better. And give me a thumbs down if you think the American fans show up and show out better than the international fans. I think, this is just me assuming and guessing, I think most of you guys are going to agree with me that the international fans are just way doper, man. They bring the energy, they bring heat. I don't know, man, the chants are better, especially in Europe, right? Like you get, Canada too, like when Sami Zayn is in the ring, you guys already know, man, like El Generico in full effect whenever they're in Canada. Drew McIntyre in Scotland, or whether it's Saudi Arabia, the fans are just, I mean, the Pops Mansoor was even getting all the way out there. It's crazy, bro. It's freaking crazy. And yeah, soccer fans are nuts, but really, they're also fans of cricket. They're fans of baseball, and they have that same energy wherever they go. Unfortunately, the fans that bring the most passion in American sports are all fully committed to the sport of football. And I'm not so sure that they're translating over to professional wrestling. Because if you could get the football fan passion in pro wrestling shows in America, I think we would be talking about a different animal here. But that said, we're going to continue here through today's show. And I'm really excited because as this number continues to grow, every day we're one step closer to episode 500 of the Wrestle Talk podcast, and that truly blows my mind. I stop and think that each one of these shows, going back to episode 1, has been a minimum of a 2-hour show. So do the math yourselves, friends. Once we get to 500 shows, you multiply that by 2 hours. Again, that's a very low estimate because most of these shows go 220, 225, in some cases, maybe even 2.5 hours. I mean, we're going to be over 1,000 hours of content, and none of this would be possible without you guys. Also, you may also remember that a few months ago, my personal Facebook page got hacked, and it was tied, and it was the main administrative page tied to Wrestle Talk Podcast Facebook page. And so we had to start that from scratch. In just a few short months, we're already up to 300 followers organically. No spamming, no paid promotion, nada. So if you haven't already taken a moment and gone over to the Wrestle Talk Podcast Facebook page, okay, make sure that you hit that like button and that you hit the notifications if the option is available to you so that you get a notification every time that the WTP goes live. On that note, we do have some business to handle before we move on. Everybody should already kind of know where we're going here. Now, all of you may not have an American flag right next to you at your disposal. If you don't, shame on you. You're a terrible American. But if you happen to have one, I'm going to ask you and everyone else to please respectfully remove your caps. Place your hands over your hearts, friends, as we begin to pay homage to the greatest country. That's right. The greatest country on God's green earth. That's right, folks. America, damn it. I'm gonna move my headphones out for this. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Dude, I can only do it so much. There it is, y'all. Lots of boos and jeers for good old Rose. Let me put this away where it belongs. There you go, Mr. E.T. Can you hold that for me? And then I don't know why I keep losing the crown on my butt here. There we go. Gotta get that crown on my guy, the Gremlin. Sorry, y'all. Give me just a sec. Yeah, now we're good, baby. All right, now that that's out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, we have paid homage to the greatest country on God's green earth. We have given our respects to the sponsors. It is time now to get into one of my favorite parts of the show, friends. That is where we get into the hottest professional wrestling topics of the day. And the way that this works is we have a randomizer. We hit the randomizer. We've got 10 or 12 different topics already lined up. I submitted some of the other Wrestle Talk podcast family submitted some, and we're going to throw these up on the screen and we're going to have a conversation. I may or may not be prepared for these topics because, again, I submitted my share of them. The boys submitted their share of them. So you have to be pretty well versed on what's going on throughout the pro wrestling world to be able to do this. If you feel like you're up to it, don't be shy. Shoot me a message. My DMs are open. Pause. And I can shoot you the link. You can have us, you can join us and we can have a conversation about it. Or if not, stay active in the comments section. You guys know how to do it, man. Let's have a conversation. Let's get this thing done. Let's talk. Let's address pro wrestling at its core, because ultimately, not only have we either been in the business or we actively are in the business, we will always be fans of the business. And for that reason, there's always something to talk about. And guess what? One of my co-hosts is going to be joining us shortly after the introduction for the High Spot segment. So stay tuned, guys. The show's going to keep getting better and better as we move forward with the High Spot segment, episode 455. That's right, 455 of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Boys in the back, hit the music, baby. High Spots time.
Mic check, mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like flare chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop and non-stop like a running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops, like a clock flash, look like a belly flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk podcast, now they know we about to start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the man himself, my brother from another, my dude, Chris Rodell, swooping in to save the day once again. Road Dogg, appreciate you being here, papi. Que pasa.
What's up, my brother? How you been?
In pain.
Yeah, how's the Achilles doing?
Man, it's a slow progression, bro. A very, very, very slow progression. So with no surgery, it's roughly a 2-year recovery.
Ooh, really?
From a tear. Yes. I opted not to do the surgery because the surgery is upwards of $35,000, and it would only increase my recovery time by about 6 months. And, you know, when you go under the knife, bacteria, medication, follow-up visits, blah, blah, blah. So I have a very, medically conservative doctor, and he believes in, hey, if you can heal on your own, then heal on your own. There's no better medicine than the medicine that's already inside of us for us to heal ourselves. Because you know, dog, cancer is one of those things, like cancer fucks you up, but it's the defenses that cancer messes up that ultimately kill people, right? It's like, it's never really the cancer. It's like the pneumonia that you get because the cancer destroyed your defenses. So it's one of those sort of scenarios.
Cancer makes you autoimmune compromised. So you're like all over the place. You know, you're so susceptible to any kind of an infection, like colds and stuff like that. And I mean, it's just it's terrible. I'm glad that you're doing well. Hopefully you can get up and walking around here soon. I know that's probably this because you were on a workout regime right before this.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I don't want to make this whole thing about me. I don't even really be posting about the shit I be going through, bro, because I'm just not the sympathy guy. To be honest with you, it kind of aggravates me when you can tell people are like fishing for sympathy and fishing for likes and fishing for like reassurance or whatever, man. I don't really need any of that, bro. I'm fortunate in my life that I have Jesus Christ to kind of make me feel like I'm worthy. You know, I don't need like people patting me on the back and feeling bad for me all the time. But my people in my circle all know what's going on. And those people would know that I had lost almost 20 pounds, bro.
Yeah, you were looking good.
Oh man, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope that's still the case. I just look good a little bit more in like wide lens. You know what I'm saying?
Trust me, I know how. How did you end up? I don't think I ever remember. How did you hurt it originally?
It's the stupidest thing ever. No, it wasn't on the BMX because you freaking tried to jinx me, Rodell. When I got my BMX, you're like, "Oh, I'm just waiting for the injury report," and I was like, "Man, I'm not gonna do nothing crazy, bro." So, as I'm working on getting healthier or whatever, I go to the swimming pool, and I just take 2 big steps to dive in the pool. And, you know, when you're diving in the pool, you got to kind of push off, right? So I push off on that second step and pop. Ooh. I felt my Achilles tear. My right foot went limp. And a day later, my foot was more purple than Barney. It was crazy. It was crazy, bro.
And then Aaron Rodgers had to feel what you were going through. So
and then the week later, he decided to bite my style. Now, it took me over a month to get in the boot, because I had to go see the doctor first and try to figure out what was the right move. And I was right. I self-diagnosed myself with a partial Achilles tear, and come to find out, that's exactly what I had.
It's so weird how like just nondescript injuries happen. My brother, he like tore like his knee. He tore a part of his knee, and all he did was step out of a car. He wasn't intoxicated. He wasn't nothing. He just stepped out of the car, and it just.
Speaking of stepping out and stepping on the stage, ladies and gentlemen, my originally scheduled co-host for the evening, the one, the only, Hardcore House.
What's up, Big Hoss?
What's going on, Bubba?
What's happening, fellas?
I just talked to you last week.
Yes, you did. You know,
so I thought I'd come up while you were having some. Apparently, you were having a little bit of issues. So I thought I'd come up and maybe we'll talk one of the high spots questions, and I'll drop down and let you
Captain
guys.
Save-A-Ho over here.
Yeah,
I
had a whole glass of tea and I dumped the whole thing across my.
He's
computer.
lying. It was moonshine. I know it. That's what it was. All right, are you gentlemen ready to jump into today's first high spots topic for episode 455?
Sure.
All right, let's do it, gentlemen. Let's go ahead and cue up the randomizer for the very first high topic of the evening. Ooh, yes! I am so happy this came up first, guys. The first question of the evening, gentlemen. Has Christian Cage surpassed MJF as the hottest heel on the AEW roster? Who wants to take this baby first?
Christian is doing some of the best work of his career.
Tell us more.
This is some of the best work. I mean, honestly, it's great. I mean, have you seen all the memes out there about him and like saying your dad's dead? That just cracks me up every time he says that. I mean, he's just doing the best work of his career. I don't know if he surpassed MJF because MJF was pretty big of an asshole, but yeah, he's doing really good work. Okay,
but Road Dogg, we're talking today.
Today.
MJF has got a lot of babyface energy going right now because of the whole Adam Cole thing. He's kind of like, you can almost be sympathetic towards him right now. And then you've got the homies coming in and offering to team with him just last week on Dynamite. I mean, the trios champs are some of my favorite. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Scissor Me Daddy. But I mean, MJF isn't necessarily playing that role right now. Hoss, do you believe that Christian Cage has surpassed the one and only MJF as the top heel in AEW as of today? Let us know.
Like you were saying, MJF really isn't doing a lot of heelish stuff right now. He is playing the baby-faced role. So looking at that, yes, he is. MJF is becoming more of a babyface. So Christian is being more of a heel than him. But as far and he is doing the best stuff that he's done in his career. But as far as being the hottest heel, there's a lot of heel action going on, especially in AEW right now. Where you've got the Callis family. There's people turning on their close friends left and right. And
so if you had to give it to one guy, who would you give it to?
Honestly, I'd say the hottest heel right now in AEW would probably be Christian.
Okay.
I agree.
What about you,
WWE? You'd have to go with Dom, who can't even get a damn word.
Well, I hope we get a chance to talk about that because, Friday was crazy. I really hope we get a chance to talk about that. Road Dogg, is Christian Cage the hottest heel in AEW right now? That you've had a few moments to think about it?
I think Christian Cage is the number one heel in AEW right now. I mean,
I think it's a consensus.
Ricky Starks is a close number 2. He had a really good promo with Adam Copeland on Collision.
Well, okay. Did you think that was good? Because a lot of people were calling it cringy. People were saying that he brought up he made a WWE reference. A lot of the IWC, and the IWC is never happy. They were not feeling it. Were you feeling it?
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't like spectacular, but it was a typical AEW can't stop mentioning WWE.
They're obsessed.
And Tony, I don't think there was a Tony Khan question that was added, but Tony
Khan's the biggest heel because everybody hates his ass right now.
Tony Khan needs to get off of Twitter or X.
Why is that? Tell us more about that. I did not dig into that too much. What is he saying on Twitter that is detrimental? I'm curious.
It's not detrimental. He's just responding to everything that WWE does. I mean, last week with the NXT show, he posted reactions to everything. That apparently there was a report that Hunter and Sean said that NXT is going to somehow go over expectations and we're going to show AEW why they are who they are, and Tony Khan didn't like it. So,
but they never said any of this publicly, right? These are just rumors.
No, there were reports.
So what you're saying is, let me just make sure I got this straight. So the con man is responding to rumors straight through X.
Basically,
so he hears a rumor, then he goes on X, and then he responds to the rumor.
Yeah, and then after when the ratings came out, he posted that John Cena and The Undertaker have never been on a WWE show that has had less than 1 million viewers, that they broke 2 streaks that night. That's cringe.
Yeah, a little cringy. Hoss, what's your whole thought on this situation before we move on?
Like you were saying, he's responding to rumors, and does he need to respond to every rumor? No, probably not. But if somebody starts throwing stuff in your direction, you're probably going to respond to it too. So, you can see both sides of it. You can see where he's going to respond to it and where most normal people will respond to it. But you can see where he's just too much on WWE and throwing WWE references out there, and that's one of the things that ruined WCW in reality is their drive to want to beat WWE so bad that they ruined their own product. And Tony Khan may go down that same road.
All right, you gentlemen. Rodell, you okay with hanging out for a few more
I
times?
will do one more question with you, and then I'll have to finish up watching NXT and hang out for the rest of the night and be listening to you.
Let's cue up the randomizer, guys. Let's do it. Oh, not this guy. Oh my gosh. Come on, guys. Who submitted this? Are you guys freaking serious? Do we really got to talk about... Okay, fine. All right, guys. The question reads, following a disqualification victory over Dylan Danis on Saturday. By the way, someone's going to have to explain to me what that was. Was it boxing? Was it wrestling? I don't know. Logan called out Rey Mysterio for a U.S. title match. Do you feel like Logan deserves a shot? Who wants to take this one first, gentlemen? I'd love to hear your opinion.
Well, I've got one question. Who in the absolute blue hell is Dylan Danis? I've never heard of him in my entire life until this past weekend.
Okay, I'm going to give you a little... okay, so there's this whole other universe that's not on TV or terrestrial radio. It's called the internet. And on this internet, Road Dogg, there's this place called YouTube. And YouTube is kind of like a television channel, except on this television channel, there's like a bazillion of them. And on this network, the YouTube network, this Dylan Danis character is very, very popular, similar to like, you would probably remember like Burt Reynolds or give me some old John Wayne.
How old do you think I am? Jesus Christ, man.
All right, well, give me one more. What's my man from Action Brunson? Not Action Brunson, Charles Brunson. Like that kind of. Yeah. Okay, so think of Charles Brunson, except on the internet, which YouTube exists on. He's a megastar on there to anybody probably 25 to 18. Megastar. That's Dylan Danis. He's a poor man's Logan and Jake Paul. Lots of different content, a lot of crazy nonsense, a lot of pranks, a lot of shenanigans. That's who he is. In his world, he is elite, even though we both have no idea who the hell he is before this whole situation. Please proceed.
And I guess the thing is didn't also Logan Paul also call out Conor McGregor after the? I think I saw a clip where he called out.
He calling out everybody. He called out Canelo. Come on, man. Come on, man.
But I mean, I think we're gonna get Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul probably for Crown Jewel because the Saudis get what they want. The Saudis like Logan Paul. That's why he got the match with Roman at the last Saudi show. That's why they're probably gonna get Roman and John Cena at the next Crown Jewel show. So I mean, the thing is Logan Paul shouldn't be as good as he is in the ring. I mean, he's
let me ask you that then. I'm going to take this question. We're going to break it down, like unpack it, as they say, right? So when you hear, do you feel Logan deserves a title shot? What are we qualifying as deserves? Like he's wrestled 1,000 matches that nobody wants to watch? Or he's only wrestled a handful of matches that have all been jaw-dropping, oh my gosh, this kid is amazing. Because by a traditional sense, Logan Paul didn't pay his dues. He's very much getting the Kurt Angle treatment. The Kurt Angle express lane, the proverbial Kurt Angle jetpack. Okay? So he's getting to skip all the formalities of professional wrestling. And I'm sure there are some veterans in the back somewhere, back in the old country, pissed off that this kid gets to skip the line. But what does it take to qualify deserves? John, I'll throw this one to you. What does a guy like Logan Paul, a guy that's coming from the outside in, what does a guy like that need to do to deserve a title shot? Because it's very untraditional in comparison to what you would see from a guy that came up early indies and then development center, NXT, so on and so forth. So how do we qualify deserves, and how does a guy like this make that happen? Go ahead, Hoss.
It's like you said, they coming up through the indies and NXT and all that, there are guys there who have done that, and they've been waiting for years or their whole life actually just for this a shot at any title. And now here's Logan Paul who steps into the spotlight, and all of a sudden, I beat Rey Mysterio before, I want him again and put the title on the line this time. You know, you need to pay your dues a little bit. You need to at least be a regular on WWE. We got enough Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar's who you only see him at pay-per-views and you never see the title other than that. And there's enough of those. I don't think he deserves it, and I don't think we're going to see it if he gets it. So I think it would be a big loss to hang a title on him and to give him a title shot. He hasn't earned one. Just because you beat the champ, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean you should get a title shot because you beat the champ a year ago or 2 years ago. You know?
I get a feeling Rodell's got a different take on this.
No,
Rodell,
I really one, does he deserve it? No, because he hasn't wrestled enough matches to deserve it. Two, he's a draw.
Okay. So that goes back to my question. So one of the qualifiers is having how many matches? How many matches would he have to have? Because I know there's not a specific number, right?
No, I mean it's like Haas said, you can't just come in and expect a title match. I mean that's just me. However, I understand why the WWE is going to do it, because it's going to put eyes on their product, it's going to put butts in the seats, and it's going to make them money, and it's going to sell Logan Paul some prime crap that he sells. A
lot of it.
I mean, I don't like it. However, my nephew absolutely loves Logan Paul because he wants he wants to be a YouTube streamer whenever that's his job. That's what he wants to be this year as he grows up. So a couple of years ago he wanted to be John Cena. So I mean,
these days you can do both.
That's
true. I mean, that's the beauty of it. As ridiculous as it may sound to us, these kids can do whatever they want. And I'm going to be honest with you. I in a traditional sense, I agree with you guys that he hasn't quote unquote earned it. Okay, I do believe that. But let's get out of the traditional sense and talk about what it is that the kid brings. He clearly respects the sport because he trains enough to look damn good when he's in the ring. The kid can talk on the mic, hang with some of the best. He's already gone in there and gone back and forth with some pretty big stars like Austin Theory. Okay, he looks the part. Clearly, he takes care of himself, and he's got a significant following. And it's not just from boys 15 to 25. It's also a lot of young ladies as well. And from what I hear, he's engaged and on the brink of being married, so good for him. But last but not least, and I think, Rodell, you probably hit this on the head better than anybody so far, is you earn the title match that people will want to watch. And here's what I mean by that. Whether he's had 5 matches in WWE or 50 matches, if he has this match with Rey Mysterio, do you guys see it as a match that you're going to want to click off or go take a bathroom break or go get some popcorn refilled? No. I'm guessing that if this match does get booked, you're going to want to watch for one of a couple of reasons. One, you want to see the kid fail because you just don't like him. And I'm not talking about you guys specifically. We're talking about here holistically, right? You either don't like the guy, you want to see him fail. You're curious about the guy and see if he can kind of keep it going because he's had a hell of a showing every time he's shown up. Or you genuinely like the guy and you want to see him win. But I don't see any of the fan base being completely disinterested in this. And let's just be honest. Rey Mysterio on his own, he's just not magnetic right now. That energy, that draw that he had for so many years, and I know a lot of little kids really like him. But generally speaking, is Rey Mysterio a relevant superstar to hardcore serious wrestling fans? Like, you're watching a Rey Mysterio match and you're like really intrigued by it anytime recently? No, I hate to say, listen, I'm Mexican just like Rey. I would love to say Rey's at the top of his game. He's just not. It's just not that intriguing unless you interject somebody like Logan Paul. And the reason I would say moving away from the traditional thinking and just saying, okay, he's got the look. He's got the mic skills. He's got the ring skills. He's put in the work. And he's going to bring asses to the seats like Rodell said. So as far as I'm concerned, if you use those qualifiers, not the old school qualifiers, not the CAC qualifiers, I'm talking about the new school qualifiers, he checks every single box. And it's not like he's only showing up once a year, guys. He's wrestling like every quarter now.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So again, by those standards, I would say yes, but I completely understand where you guys are coming from a traditional sense that he hasn't earned it.
I mean, Ray's gonna bring out a good match in him. I mean, because Ray shouldn't be having these many as good matches as he's had, but I mean, he is starting to slow down a little bit. So, but
matches are a little vanilla right now for him, in my opinion. What do you think, Hoss?
Well, I do agree that, Ray he's in his
the twilight
come into retirement.
The twilight of his career.
his best days are behind him, I think. But I can't see hanging a title on Logan Paul. He just hasn't been around enough and isn't around enough to really hang a title on him. But I can see where they probably would do it, just because, then he'll be all over the internet, with the title, and everybody will be all of his followers, that is, will be all excited. And, hey, Logan's got the title, and they're going to tune in.
Well, Sonny's comment,
if they see him, but
Sonny's comment, Hoss, before you finish, I just want to throw that back up again. I mean, the cross promotion, he mentioned a WWE superstar during a boxing event, and then not to mention the TKO Endeavor deal. WWE's getting pub from MMA, and now also they're getting pub from boxing. I think that's a good thing, John.
But do you waste that pub on a United States title, which is a secondary title in the WWE? But then
I think it brings eyes that otherwise wouldn't give a shit about the United States title. Maybe.
Good point.
At the very least, they'll sell some more of those belts.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the same time, it's not. I don't think even that pub is worthy of putting him in against Roman Reigns and having him end Roman's streak, or take Seth's title. It's not worthy of a title that high for sure. But
it brings some relevance to the U.S. title, even if it's like fair weather fan relevant versus hardcore fan relevant. Well, on that note, Rodell, as always, bro, the door is open. If you happen to change your mind and decide to stick around or come back later, you already know, bro, where we're going to be. Otherwise, enjoy NXT. Enjoy dinner if you haven't had it already. And thank you for coming in and filling in for a couple minutes.
No problem, brother. It was good seeing you. Good seeing you again, Hoss. And hopefully your foot gets better, because I hate being in pain. I mean,
it's awful.
I'm 40-something and I'm in pain every day with my back or shoulder or knee or something every day. So
hey, something I learned from wrestling, specifically Triple H. I heard him say it, and I think it's true. Motion is the lotion. The more active you can be, the more you sweat every day, the better your joints are going to feel. You got to keep the circulation circulating, big homie. Peace out, DJ Big Sexy.
Talk to you soon. All right, brothers.
All
right, bye.
He's gone. Yo, John. All right, so real quick for you, because you weren't here at the beginning of the show, man. How the hell have you been, bro? I know you yourself have been dealing with some medical things and a little bit of pain. Are you doing okay, man? Is God giving you the strength that you need, bro?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm doing okay. I'm getting through, and I'm here, and that's the important thing. I always look forward to being here on Wrestle Talk, and being here with all the fans and with you and Chris and all the others. It's just a great time to be here. So.
Well, speaking of which, let's go ahead and get you right back on the bike, man. If you wouldn't mind, could you update all of our fine friends with our sponsors, please?
All right. Well, as always, our great sponsors, Royal Mills Transportation, the one and only Dewan Mills. We got Rathbun Engraving, our Wrestle Talk podcast mugs, is $20. Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, ask for Pete the Barber. Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Jeremy Karp and the guys over there doing wonderful things. Little Papa's Designs, they take care of our Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers. And the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. If you don't know about us, be sure to check us out, because doing amazing things over there.
Hey, just so people get a little bit of a taste for it, man, could you give them one of those good old hardcore Hoss? If you know what I want, bro. Come on, hook me up.
FWWC. That's right.
One of the best catchphrases in the game, bro. I don't care what nobody says, bro. Yo, getting love from my man Money Mayo. Love to you, bro. I know the hardcore champ Hoss absolutely appreciates it, right, Hoss?
Always.
See here, it says Shay Malice t-shirt in the back. Yeah, with the Mike Tyson, the Thane Malice.
Yeah, he's back here.
Oh, I love this. All right, you know what? I think Sonny brings up a great point, and because he did bring it, I know it's amongst our high spots topics. So just for this one time, we're going to forego the randomizer because a viewer, a listener, a caller, whatever, which Sonny happens to be this evening, brought up a specific topic, and I think we're all about, the Wrestle Talk family, right, John? If the fam wants to talk about it, then we want to talk about it. Is that fair?
Always, as long as it doesn't break the randomizer. You know how touchy that thing is.
Especially with Rodell. I think he just got an itchy trigger finger. I think that's what it is for Rodell. All right, let's go ahead and pop it up. I think this is one of the questions that got thrown out into the chat, and it was uploaded, and let's see what it looked like. I think it's along the same lines of what Sonny's talking about here. And there's your picture, my friends, and your topic. There we go. John, you want to take that one for us?
With the biggest star in recent memory, Nick Aldis, making the jump to the E, how optimistic should fans be about NWA going forwards?
John? Go ahead and take this one first, man. We can both talk about it, of course, but you don't have to just stick to the NWA topic. I think talking about what he's going to do in WWE is also fair game, but please take it away.
I don't get to see a lot of NWA, so I can't speak on that part much. But as far as him being in WWE, it's going to be interesting to see what he does, with some of the things that's already happened, KO coming over to SmackDown and some of the matches he's already made. It's already brought some interest. So I'm already interested in seeing what else he's going to do. I could almost see, and not saying this is definitely going to happen, but I could almost see down the line where he could play a heel general manager catering to the bloodline. That might be an interesting storyline. So there's a lot of things you could do there with having a new general manager come in, and especially with that general manager being Nick Aldis.
I couldn't agree more with you, and I would like to just share a little bit of information from our friends over at whatculture.com. The story reads as follows. I'm going to keep it brief. It's from the 8th. More details on Nick Aldis' NWA suspension and departure. NWA's falling out with Nick Aldis might have had something to do with Mickie James. More details have emerged about Nick Aldis' NWA suspension and the reason why he fell out with the company in the first place. Fightful Selects report that Aldis hasn't been happy with the NWA brass for a while, and that a huge reason for this breakdown in communication was perceived disrespect towards his wife, Mickie James, following Empower on the 28th of August, 2021. The all-female show, which I think there were some St. Louis gals that participated at this show in St. Louis for NWA 70, if I'm not mistaken. It continues here, and I'll keep it brief. The all-female show was a first for the promotion, but they hadn't produced a follow-up since. Now it seems comments made by owner Billy Corgan about the necessary sequel. Corgan questioned whether or not there was enough of a free agent market to make it viable. So this played into Nick Aldis' frustrations with the NWA. There are also concerns about Aldis' side about disrespect towards Mickie James leading up to the Empower show, but neither side has really spoke about it publicly. They since have come to a head, and Nick is set to depart the promotion. So again, this was something that broke on the 8th, and about a week later, Nick Aldis shows up at WWE. So I'm going to go ahead and try to answer the question specifically. And it's okay, John, if you don't watch a whole NWA, it's not your fault. Everybody has enough time for what they have enough time for. NWA is pretty good. If you can squeeze some in, great. If not, I totally understand. Before I get to my comments, let's read one from my guy, Sonny Money. It says, a bit disappointed that Nick Aldis, they've has him on an on-screen character for the time being, but not taking away from how good he is on the mic. Okay, so I guess Sonny's not happy with the fact that he's playing a manager. I think he'd rather see him in the ring. I don't disagree with that at all. Nick Aldis is phenomenal. I've actually seen him wrestle live and in person. Without Nick Aldis, no way Billy Corgan would have been able to have NWA credible today in the 21st century. And you know what? I'm actually going to agree with that as well. My thoughts are these, John. I think Nick Aldis is by far the biggest superstar that they've had at NWA for a good long while. He specifically was the reason that I found the resources and the time and the motivation to go out to WLW a couple of years ago for their big event. Adam Cole was there, Ryback was there, Camille was there, but really the star of that show to me was Nick Aldis versus Leland Race. I got to spend some awesome time there with my man Dylan and my man Kyle, one from St. Louis, the other one from Cape, and a few other people that I ran into up there. World-class service, by the way. Ref Marty, shout out to you. He was working that night, had a lot of good times at that show in particular. But I remember that it was Nick Aldis that really sold that show for me. Now, my son, who was more like 10 at the time, 11 at the time, was more excited about Adam Cole. Understandably so, Hoss. But for me, I had not seen somebody that had that much like prestige built up outside of the WWE. Somebody that looked that legit, that credible, that was that complete. Because there's guys in the indies, bro, that have like this one thing, right? They're super talented in the ring, or they're really, really great on the mic. And you don't really know until you know when they get there and they're actually in the ring performing on the biggest stage. And you're like, oh, okay, boom, this guy has it all. Aldis has it all. So what does this mean for the NWA? This means that they better be damn good at home growing some superstars. And I'm not talking about EC3. No, I'm sorry. They need to definitely get to a point very, very quickly, John, where they start developing their own superstars. Because let me tell you, the Trevor Murdochs of the world, as talented as they are only going to get you so far. So they really, really need to step on the gas on developing new talent and getting him out there in front of the fans. Because I think there's a guy right now named Mills or Mixie. He's like their middle weight champion or whatever. He's a pretty slick dude, super talented in the ring. If not, they need to go ahead and go to the bank, double briefcases, and go over to those other guys and go get my guy Fatu. Or they need to go get a guy like Hammerstone and make that guy their guy. Because if they don't do that very, very soon, John, I think around this time next year, we may be talking about the NWA retiring and potentially for good. I would hate to see that. Absolutely would hate to see that. One other comment. You mind reading that out one of those for us, man?
Sonny says, got to witness NWA championship match between Nick Aldis and the late, great Jason Strife.
Okay. 1 second here. Boom. Yes, Sonny did. That's right. So, man, I would love for you to come on and talk about that one of these days, man. You may have already mentioned it on one of your appearances on the show, but dude, yeah. And rest in peace, Jason Strife, man. Yellow Dog. Huge loss for the Midwest here recently, about a year ago, maybe. Sad deal. My dude ran Magnum Pro, one of the most legit promotions in the area, John. I can't begin to tell you what a loss that has been and continues to be for all of wrestling, but particularly pro wrestling in the Midwest.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a name that, I had heard out this way. And, I actually followed him on Facebook and everything else. So, he wasn't just known out in the Midwest. He was he was known far and wide. So,
well, damn. Well, I'm glad that you say that, man, because guys of that caliber and of that talent, a lot of times they end up not going too far outside their territory. And I'm glad that he did, man, because he was so talented, whether he was operating under, his Jason Strife, or he was doing the Yellow Dog thing. I think he always connected with the fans. So I'm glad for Sonny. I think he went up there with his wife and ended up having a really good time, man. So, hitting the road and doing that thing over a weekend at a pro wrestling show, man, it pays huge dividends. I know my wife's not a huge wrestling fan, but anytime we've gone, she's always enjoyed herself. So kudos to you, Sonny, and that's awesome, bro. We both got to see Nick Aldis, and now we get to see him every week on freaking Fridays. It's nuts. And you know what's really great? Like, he doesn't look like he's gonna cower to any of the superstars. Like, even standing up against Roman or side by side, like, he's a man of stature, John. And Adam Pearce, though he's not very tall, he's also one of those guys that is a former NWA champion, just like Nick Aldis, that has a tremendous amount of respect in the pro wrestling community. Who I liken them to? A guy like Nick Aldis. I liken him to, like, when AJ Styles, when he came in to the E. Like, he was already a made man before he joined the mob. Does that make any sense? You get what I'm saying? Like, AJ was already credible. He already had his respect before he stepped foot in the Royal Rumble that year.
oh yeah, definitely. But the stature that Nick Aldis carries, and the way, he looks like he's not going to take crap from anybody, and he's not going to back down. That's one of the reasons I actually believe he would be good as a heel general manager, backing the bloodline and just totally doing the opposite of.
What's up with you trying to turn this man heel all of a sudden, bro? You need it. What is this about, John? Why? You're like me. I think Jade Cargill should immediately be a heel, but that's just me.
I just think it would be a good storyline to go with, and somebody like Adam Pearce, once they start coming at him, I could see him kind of backing down and wimping out.
Bro.
But
Iron,
Nick Aldis,
Iron, Adam Pearce, bro. Scrap Iron. I mean, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, Nick Aldis, I could see him taking it and throwing it right back. It's just,
bro, and he's still a real life ass kicker, bro. And from what I understand, he's not hurt or anything. Like, I looked around, and I don't see anything about him having any, like, serious injuries before leaving NWA. Dude, wait a minute. We got royalty in the building. Shout out. Now, Steven, I don't know if you remember me. I certainly remember you. CAC. We were standing having a conversation. It was Jason Jones, yours truly, yourself, and we were walking out. Jimmy Hart was setting up for one of the autograph signings or whatever it was. And Jason and myself, we kind of stepped out, and Jimmy was kind of following. Then Medusa shows up, and she's like, "What the hell are you guys doing here?" And Jason's like, "I know you're not talking to me." And you're like, "I know you're not talking to me." And Jimmy's like, "I know you're not talking to me." And then I was like, "Oh shit, she's talking to me." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm out of here," because I just showed up as a fan. I'm a commentator and everything, but in this sense, I felt very much as a fan. So I was like, I just tipped my cap, and I don't know if you remember that, man, but it was all respect. Steven, we'd love to have you on the show. I know you were going back and forth with this goofball. There we go. It says, "What are you doing here? You want to disrespect our country?" Yeah, he remembers. That's right. Hey, we'd love to have you on the show sometime, dog. You already know my inbox. Hit me up. Let's make it happen, Captain. But you and Aaron Wallace may need to have a face-to-face face-off here, because he clearly has issues with you, my friend. Shout out to Big Country, too. Sorry, John.
Who doesn't Aaron have issues with?
Well, listen, me and Aaron, we're peas of the same pod, bro, because he calls out the nonsense of all the heels. Like, even my man that's coming on tonight, Money Mike Pettis. Everybody's like, "Oh, Money Mike, he's coming on the Wrestle Talk podcast." People are all excited. I'm like, do you guys not know what this dude does? He yells at old ladies. He trips little kids. And he's, not always willing to stay within the rules to accomplish his goals. So me personally, bro, I'm always going to call out the shenanigans. If I see nonsense, I'm going to call it out, even if these referees out here are blind as a bat and they forgot to count to 3. I'm just saying. Like Joe Lance. Like Joe. You know what I mean? Can't count to 3.
Well, that's just Joe.
Yo, let me ask you something about Joe real quick. Did Joe take off his shirt at the last WDWA show or something like that?
I don't think it was the last one, but I think it was the one before last. He took his shirt off and was dancing in the ring and doing. Oh God! Ugh.
Okay, I want you guys to imagine a slightly.
Don't imagine.
No, wait a minute. a slightly overgrown garden gnome. Okay, this is what I want you guys to picture this. Okay, and then bald head, glasses, referee shirt. You know what? Technology. Let's do this, John. Let's do this. I actually have the clip pulled up.
Oh,
so we're
no.
gonna, I'm sorry. Turn away if you're faint at heart, okay, friends, because this is one of our longtime Wrestle Talk podcast hosts, actually the originator of the Wrestle Talk podcast, along with our deceased friend and forever fam, Rick Rose, Nightmare Joe Lance. So Joe Lance is still very active up on the East Coast as a referee. And
Content
every once in a
warning.
while, what'd you say?
Content warning. You may
Yeah,
want
that's
to
right.
cover your eyes.
Okay, so these two very, very talented men in the ring are like having a body, show off contest. Like, oh, look at my pecs and look at my abs. Well, our buddy Nightmare Jones, I guess he just refuses to be left out here. So let's go ahead and play the quick clip very quickly. And CEO, I know that you're ready to come on, but you're gonna have to set that camera down somewhere because you're already making me nauseous. So prop it somewhere, and then we'll bring you on in just a minute. But let's go ahead and play the clip because this is freaking glorious. And you know what, John? I don't even want this to get in the way. So let me go ahead and get rid of these comments here. There we go. Let's get rid of that, and let's go ahead and play the clip. What in the hell? One more time. All right, enough of that. I'm sorry, John. My bad. Dewan, you showed up just in time for that mess. Welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome.
Hold on.
Oh, baby's sleeping.
Look at here. When you get worked into babysitting and you have no idea you're going to freaking do it. So that is my great niece. That is Alicia's niece's daughter. That's how long I've been around in her life. So yes, I'm here.
Kind of getting like early grandpa vibes from you, my guy. You need to relax.
Hey, that's you, dog. That's look here. I haven't
It can happen.
Look at here.
It can
brother.
happen.
No, the hell it ain't. The devil is a lie. I haven't changed.
Well, no, not to you. Your girls are way too young. What I'm saying is, it can happen to a man in his late 30s.
I
He
know.
can become a grandfather. Believe me, I am testament to that.
And you got it, bro. I don't see how you do it. I've been here. I've been here for an hour and some change. I'm already about to pull my hair out, and I have no
What
hair.
You got no.
Exactly. She's two, and she's.
You mentioned grandfather, and Dewan is stuttering almost as much as you did the day at the restaurant when your wife mentioned that to us when we were up there, and you didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah. I wasn't ready to talk about it at that point. I was still processing. I was still very early. You'll have to excuse me for that. Yo, what up, bro? Oh, yo, Robert's in the house. FWWC legend. And thank you, Susie. My grandkids are quite beautiful. I absolutely agree. Well, Dewan, we'll keep this very, very brief. Pertaining to FWWC business, I have quick questions.
Mhm.
And this really goes for both of you. The most recent call-ups from the Fed to the main roster, can each of you talk to us a little bit about why these people were nominated for call-ups and what they should expect now that they're on the main roster that might be a little different from what they experienced in the Fed, particularly those that are joining us for the very first time. We'll go ahead and kick it off with UCO, then we'll jump over to Hoss. What do you guys?
So for me, the FED, as you guys know, is our developmental program here in the FWWC. Hoss runs that bad boy very amazingly. And it's for new superstars that are returning. You know, we run an amazing fantasy wrestling group, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, the FWWC. And it's similar to NXT. You know, sometimes you see some of the guys in the WWE, like Baron Corbin or doggone Becky Lynch, you know, head back down to NXT, kind of polish things up, kind of have a little bit of fun or whatever. Same thing with us here in the FWWC. The FED is for new superstars, returning superstars, whatever the dynamic is. And we are proud to have that because sometimes you need a little bit of polishing up on your character. Sometimes you need a little bit of practice in your matches, whatever the case may be. Those individuals in the FED and has Hardcore Hoss been running. He's been doing an amazing job at it, man. We've seen some amazing things at those guys. In the recent call-up, this kid's moving. The recent call-up were the Heel Deal. And also, we had the Heel Deal. Hoss, what was the other one? I don't want to steal your thunder.
Oh, you're going to throw it to me. Why don't we discuss them one at a time then? Why don't we discuss them one at a time? You know, why we called up Heel Deal first, and then
gotcha. And then I'll let you talk about it. Good idea. So, Heel Deal, longtime member of the FWWC. A guy that I've talked to on different personal occasions, an amazing character here in the FWC, former title holder. He was the first Canadian champion, not the FWC United States champion, the first FWWC Canadian champion here in our group. And it's good to see the guy back, man. Like I said, I've had a personal relationship with Heel Deal for a long time now. He always does amazing work. Actually, the CEO in the Heel Deal had some action some time back. If you guys go back and check out that promo, I kind of stomped out his glasses. But I'm glad for him to be on the main roster. It is amazing to have that guy. As a booker, I am for the main roster. To be honest with you guys, there's a lot to be expected. Their expectations are high. But what I like to do, and Hoss always says this, I like to throw things at the wall and see if it sticks. So this upcoming Friday, it will be Heel Deal going against none other than Jinxed. And like I said, we're going to throw it at the wall, see what sticks. You know, as a booker and as we're trying to round out the end of the year and get prepared for FWC Survivor Series, you know, there's a lot of loose ends I'm trying to tie up. There's a lot of things that's happening in the group that I'm trying to, you know, put together to get ready for 2024. And FWWC Survivor Series is one of those big loose ends. There's a lot of matches that are being put together. The card is not final yet, but I am 100% sure that the new guys that are coming from the FED will be involved in some sort or capacity at that pay-per-view. Heel Deal being one of those guys. Now, I don't want to steal your thunder because Gabriel Arserine, or am I saying that right? Arserine?
Gabrielle
Arsene, yes. Language ain't my best quality. English language is my best quality. Gabriel Arsene, another individual that was here in the FWWC that made waves on the main roster. Actually started out in the FED, went to the main roster, had to take some time, and went back to the FED. Again, I'm expecting amazing things from that guy. But Hoss, what was one of the reasons that you brought up Mr. Gabriel?
You know, he's awesome at his promos. He puts in 110%. Yeah, and when he has his matches, he always role plays. He does what is asked of him, and we always say activity is king. And you know, he had a program with Luke Justice. In all honesty, Luke kind of dropped the ball a little bit in the program, and he even admitted that to me that he dropped the ball. But when he dropped the ball, Gabriel just kept running. You know, he kept the program going, he kept it alive, and he made that program what it was. And so, you know, it's somebody that I undeniably could not keep down in the FED because there was nothing there for him to really work on. He's got it all pretty well figured out. So and his in the backstage, he's always willing to help, willing to help push guys, and yeah, he's just got it figured out, and hopefully he'll continue. You know, I know there for a while he had some issues, and he took a step back, and you know, that's when he had his character change and came down to Fed, and but now he seems to be back, and hopefully he just continues on the track he's on.
And as we saw this past Monday, he's already started to shit on the main roster. Him and Ace, I'm going to get this together because I'm back. For the longest, I've been watching this whole deal between him and Ace. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure if you guys remember, Gabriel and Ace came in around the same time. Those guys was a hell of a tag team. I'm not sure what the deal is, but you know how we do. We settle the beef.
Whoa. Don't want.
What?
I was totally cool with you doing your thing. I wasn't even going to say anything. But are you looking at me in the eye and telling me you don't know what's going on with those two and why this is happening? Is there
I may not do
a shit starter extraordinaire? Look, John over here is all quiet because he knows exactly whom is stirring this pot of shit. Okay, so listen, let's be honest with the listeners of the FWWC and of the Wrestle Talk podcast. You and I both know, and if we don't want to mention him by name, that's fine. I understand.
I was going to say, you better be careful, because you
like
mention him by name, he might break into your studio and knock you out and take over.
Right. I look at it, babysitting CEO doing a good job. He's doing a good job. He's doing good. Well, listen, we'll keep it down. And I think it's probably best if we keep it down. You and I both know.
What's up? I know,
you and
right?
I both know that if we say his name more than once, there might be a problem. But there has been a problem over 10 years here in this company that has never been addressed. You know it, and we don't have to talk about it tonight. But there's a reason that tag teams like Gabriel Arson, that's why they don't last. Because when there's a good thing going around, there's always somebody that has to stick his effing hand in it to screw it all up. So listen, we don't got to get into that tonight. But for you to say that you don't know what's going on, I think you and I know exactly what's going on and why it's going on. And to be honest with you, it kind of makes me lose sleep at night because I care about the future of this company. And if there's anything that's going to jeopardize it, it's tyranny. Tyranny from the top down. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I'll just leave it there.
Now,
well, here's the thing.
The
thing about it is this, and I don't mean to cut you off, John. Again, I've been around here for
Boss is about to start politicking. I already know what's about to happen.
This is nothing I haven't seen before, okay? We know who we're talking about. We know who we're discussing. But what he fails to realize and what he needs to know is that as a member of the board of directors, myself, the CEO, I got pull and I got clout too, baby. So I'm not sweating. I ain't worried about it. I'm a damn near handle business. I am going to handle business. You better believe that. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to be compromised. Not this pay-per-view, not the matches, not my roster, none of that.
And listen, you have my full support. I'm with you. John?
You know what's popping.
I'm just curious to see what John's got to say because I already know where this is going.
You know, honestly, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier on the page. You know, and I was trying to explain to Aaron Wallace earlier. Yeah, he is one of those people who are just misunderstood. Nobody seems to like him. Nobody agrees with what he does, but yet what he does propels the FWWC forwards. He only has the FWWC in mind. And
we will be here all night, John. We will be here all night, Hoss. Let's stick to the point because I gotta get back to the kid.
He tries to take care of things that CEO doesn't take care of.
Here we go. You're lucky. Listen, Thursday night, 7:30, you and me gonna talk first. Straight up.
Ooh.
I'm
And
not
we'll
even.
leave it there.
I can't even get into the matches. I got to.
And we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
7:30
Crown
Thursday
Jewel.
night.
That's
Matter
right.
of fact, 8 p.m. 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Thursday
this
night.
Thursday. We're gonna start.
Yeah.
We're gonna start talking about Crown Jewel. We're gonna talk
Yes.
about the call-ups and
Yep.
John and
Oh, yeah.
Dewan, the CEO and the hardcore champion, Mr.
Really?
FED and Mr. Main Roster are gonna go through all this in depth. Guys, make sure you tune in right here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast Network. Thank you for being here, Dewan.
Really? I know. I'll see you at Wednesday. Bye.
John, you know, the whole show, everything is fine. But then we get to this little FWWC segment, and I have to look at you in a different way. And I'm just going to say this and we'll be over it. Listen, bro, I've been around here a long time. I've been trying to help the FWWC just as much as anybody else. Bro, I don't ever ask for nothing back. The Night Owl has never competed in a match. The Night Owl has never fought for a championship. None of it. I'm just here to make sure that we're the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion. I get it. If you got a little bit of authority and you want to be in competition, that's fine. But, bro, the dude's had the Warriors Heart Championship for almost a year now. And anytime we see him, he's knocking somebody over the head with a light tube or pulling some nonsense, okay? Are we going to get regular content from this dude? Probably not. Is he one of the greatest of all time? Probably. But, bro, the fact that he's pitting our top future superstars against each other, Gabriel Arson and Ace should be a team. They should be working together, just like Haas Mafia trying to capture the tag team championships. It would make sense, right? But no, only the tag teams that guy approves of get to stay together and get opportunity. The tag teams that he doesn't approve of, the people that he can't manipulate, like Ace, they get nothing. They have to scratch, fight, and claw for every opportunity. You can't tell me, and you faced Ace quite a few times, you can't tell me that's not nonsense, bro. Because why is it that the guys that are with him all seem to be holding gold, and the guys that aren't all seem to be in a position where they struggle to get those opportunities? That's all I'm gonna say, bro. It's a little frustrating to me. I mean,
excellence breeds excellence. What can I say?
Oh my gosh, I knew I was gonna get some crummy answer from me. You know what? Put that belt down. Can we please get back into high spots here? I'm sick of you showing off already, Hoss. Jeez Louis. Now here, and okay, of course. Here we go. Here comes the parade for the guy. He's better than Brock Lesnar. Ace for La Familia. What the hell is this even about? What are you talking about? Haas Mafia is gonna. Okay, here we go. Bata's gonna. Okay, listen, we're gonna leave it here, guys. For more information on the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, reach out to Haas, reach out to the Night Out, reach out to Dewan Mills. Our inboxes are always open. If you guys want to join the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, it's pretty easy. Just hit us up. We want you to be there. We want you to join us. And truly, it's helping a lot of people who would love to be in the real professional wrestling business that can't for one reason or another. It's allowing those folks to live their dreams, and that's something that we're extremely, extremely proud of. I'm sure you would agree with that, John.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, there's a lot of people, and I was one of them, who said, I can't see myself doing this, or I can't see myself cutting these promos. I'm going to look completely stupid doing this. But you know what? It's a lot of fun. You can do it. And, we start you out in the FED, and I need more people in the FED, trust me. But, we start you out down
that just
there.
means you're doing a good job getting people up to the main roster, bro. Like, you should give yourself a little credit there.
Well, with it, we had that big call up about, 2 months ago? And then, we just had the call up of the two superstars there. Last month, was it? So it
just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, something like that. So it's great to see these guys go up, and it's great to see them put in the work. And there's a few that are right on the edge of being called up as it is, and then we got those who just can't hack it that end up on the outside, and it is what it is.
Before we get off this topic completely, I did have one more question. So, like, for those that didn't make the main roster, let's say a couple of months ago, and ended up having to step away, will those folks be given an opportunity at some point to come back?
Oh yeah, if you don't make the main roster and you're kind of forced to step away, then 90 days. It's 90 days out, and then you can come back. Um, I mean, we're not going to do that forever. 90 days you come back, you're out. 90 days you come back.
You
No,
have to
you're not going
show
to do that
development.
forever. But
You have to show development.
you'll get you'll get a fair shake. So, if you've been there before, or you're one of those people that you just didn't make the cut, feel free to come back as long as you're one of those people within reason.
Yeah, and as long as I think as you're showing progression, I think that's the key. If your communication always sucks, if your poster picks always suck, if your promos always suck, if your role play always suck, if you always lose, to us it says that you're putting minimal to no effort. And that is something we can't forgive. Everybody's going to lose matches. Everyone's going to have an off day when it comes to promos. You're not always going to have all the time in the world to do your role play. But if you're consistently showing the ability to do those things, and it's obvious that you're putting thought behind it, like what we were talking about with Gabriel Arsene and Heel Deal, then you'll be rewarded for that. And on the main roster, what's the difference? I know you guys didn't get a chance to answer that too well. Well, on the main roster, we have real, fully customized, truly heavy, a couple of pounds. We got real championship belts. Like that one right there. That was designed by a member of the FWWC. We currently have 3 championships right now that are all absolutely customized and paid for by the members of the FWWC. So, on that note, Hardcore Hoss, we're only a couple of minutes away from Money Mike Pettis joining us on the show. I know you've got your questions. I have my questions, but guess what? We've got time for one more high spots topic this evening because Mike Pettis will be joining us here in a little bit over 5 minutes. He is, just for those that are wondering, because there was quite a few people that were like, "Oh, Mike Pettis, yes, we love him." All those guys, I don't know. I got my suspicions about those people. And then there was a whole other group that was like, "Oh, Money Mike yelled at me at a show." There was somebody that tweeted at us on X and said, "Yeah, that he was rude to my son." And you know what? I'm just like, listen, you don't got to like the guests we have on. We're going to have everybody from every demographic. Personally, I don't like the dude's style. I think he's a little rude. I think he could probably do well by taking care of the fans that are lining his very, very, very stacked pockets. But since he's already wealthy, I don't think he even gives a damn anymore. So in just a matter of minutes, guys, we are going to have our guy, or more John's guy, Money Mike Pettis, join us here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, baby, for episode 455. But before we get there, quick shout out here. Shout out to Elvia down in FLA, baby, Florida, dirty, dirty South. Mwah, love you. Thank you for being here. Susie's been with us all night showing love. Can't thank you enough, sis, for always supporting the Wrestle Talk podcast. And if you guys are tuning in, make sure you hit that like button, pretty please. And more importantly, hit that share button so other fans, other members of the Wrestle Talk podcast family get the opportunity to check out tonight's show. John, are you ready for one more quick high spots topic?
Always, I'm ready for high spots.
Oh, buddy, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and cue it up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hit the randomizer and we'll get into the next and probably last high spots topic of the evening. Oh, John. I was really, really, really hoping that this one would come up, man, because these have got to be 2 of the top guys in professional wrestling today. And the question reads, it appears they may be building to a match between LA Knight and Roman Reigns. Would you like to see this match take place at Crown Jewel or Survivor Series? John, why don't you go ahead and take this one first, my friend?
I think this can be a very interesting story. Both guys, I believe, have already proved that, they can make one hell of a program. And I think LA Knight is truly deserving of the opportunity to go for that title. I even think he could possibly carry that title and carry the company for a little while if he had to. Personally, I would rather see it at Survivor Series than at Crown Jewel, because I'd like to see him have more time to build it than what you're going to have at Crown Jewel. But is Roman probably going to defend at Crown Jewel? Probably so. They're probably going to rush something with him. But I'd hate to see a rushed program between the two of them, because I really believe this could be a really good program to watch if you have time to build that program. So I'm hoping they do it at Survivor Series and not Crown Jewel, but I don't see them having Crown Jewel without Roman there.
John, I have to say this. I'm proud of the WWE. I'm genuinely proud of the WWE, because they've been accused so many times of not listening to the fans. And I believe that this go around, the fans have spoken so loudly that they really had no choice but to put the jetpack on LA Knight's back. Now, him being a little bit up in years from a pro wrestling perspective, he's not old really by regular by a regular gauge, but in pro wrestling years, he's a little bit further along than most of the guys coming up. I would love to see this matchup happen, but I would believe that even all the way to Survivor Series, JP, that it would be a little bit too soon. I love LA Knight and everything that he can do on the microphone, but I am not in love with what he does in the ring. And listen, I'm far from being a pro wrestling expert. I did commentary for a couple of years, and I've been doing this podcast for a little bit longer. But his moveset, I don't know, bro. I just don't know if he could put on that 35, 40-minute, heart-stopping match that we know Roman Reigns can do, because he's done it over and over and over, from Cody Rhodes to Brock Lesnar to everybody in between. But the momentum is there. They could force feed it and give LA Knight his first significant loss, but I think they would be doing themselves a disservice if they can continue to build and escalate upon this momentum. Maybe at Royal Rumble, maybe at WrestleMania, but they've got a lot of landmines between now and then. Are they able to stay out of their own way, JP? Are they able to allow this man to truly spread his wings and fly and build the momentum necessary to get all the way to WrestleMania and have a match against Roman Reigns? I don't know. And even so, you ask yourself that question, you go, wow, okay, if he's able to do all that, is he ultimately the guy that's going to be the one that takes the belt from Roman? Because that's something that I think it's a foregone conclusion. This man is going to have this belt until he retires. Because Cody tried it, Drew tried it, and both of those guys were white hot when they had their opportunity against Roman Reigns. I mean, I think we all thought that Drew's moment, his comeuppance from what happened during the pandemic, was going to happen in Scotland, and it just didn't, John. And I don't know why. I think we're still all trying to figure all that out. But do I want to see LA Knight shoved into the main event spotlight that I don't believe he's quite ready yet for? I don't. Because I would hate to see them squash his momentum. Now, in their defense, Cody lost and his momentum has continued. But Cody, unlike LA Knight, is extremely polished inside the square circle. And quite frankly, he's a lot more entertaining, at least from my perspective, when I watch him wrestle than what LA Knight is with his flying elbow, which is basically just Hogan's leg drop, and his Russian leg sweep, and his bootleg Stone Cold Stunner. And again, I'm an LA Knight fan. It sounds like I'm a hater. Listen, I'm not. I just got to call it how I see it. Hardcore Hoss. I have to do it because that's what Wrestle Talk is about. Let's talk wrestling. Let's be honest with each other. So those are my thoughts. And I hope that they do it. I hope he can continue to build momentum, but I just feel like either Crown Jewel in Survivor Series is just a little bit too soon. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Oh no, I do agree. I mean, I was saying that, it's a program I would like to see them build, and the more they can build it, the better. But at the same time, can they carry a program all the way to WrestleMania or something? And if LA Knight isn't the guy to put in the main event, who is? I mean, I know they moved KO over, and I know that there's a lot of people who
we've seen that
absolutely love KO, but I don't see him being the man to take the title. And so who do you put in that main event spot if not LA Knight?
Well, we were talking earlier about earning these opportunities, and as much as I hate to say it, and I know he's very, very well respected in the business, I think LA Knight still has some earning to do to be able to stand in the ring on a main event stage with the greatest of all time, potentially. Some people are making that argument. I don't know if I necessarily feel that way, but Roman's got to be in that conversation at this point. This run is historic. He's broken countless records, and he didn't do it by accident like Bob Backlund. Like, this has been a dominant, absolutely incredible championship run, John, and I don't think anybody could dispute that fact. So,
oh yeah,
go ahead.
That actually brings up a whole nother question. I mean, we don't have time for it, but that brings up a whole nother question. Is like you brought up, he should be in the running for greatest of all time, but WWE has already given that moniker to John Cena, of all people.
Well, they were calling the Honking Tonk Man the longest reigning Intercontinental champion of all time until they weren't. Same thing's going to happen with Roman. Even if he continues this run for another 5 to 8 years, maybe even 10 years, and I'm not saying with the title, but I mean, if he continues to be the hottest guy in the sport for that long, bro, by the time we get to the end of those 5 to 7 to 8 to 10 years, there's not going to be an argument against it. I mean, you can say 15 championship runs, but how long did those last? If you got one reign that lasts 5 years, is that worth more than 15 reigns that lasted 2 years? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, we will continue this conversation if the money man himself is okay with it, because I've been told that he reserves the right to forego any questions that he doesn't like. I don't even know how this contract is structured, but somehow, some way, we got the money man on the show tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it is both an honor and a pleasure for some hosting here tonight to have this man on the show, because it's been a long, long time since the money man has been on the WTP.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
So welcome in Mr. New Breed, Mr. Money Man, Mr. Private Practice, the one and only Money Mike Pettis.
Renee, not Renee, whoever your name is. I'm sure the pleasure's all yours. Thank you for having me. What do you want to chat about? You guys asked me to be on the show. I'm giving you my time. What would
Welcome
you like
to the show, Mr. Pettis.
Well, thank you.
Unlike some hosts here, I respect people of your stature. So,
all right, you've been promoted from not Renee to Hardcore Haas now. Then I appreciate that.
All
right, listen. I just want to get one thing out of the way, and then maybe if we talk about this, maybe we can move forward with this interview a little bit more cordially. Can we do that? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Why? Oh, why? The pro wrestling world is asking the question. it's not enough to humiliate a man. It's not enough to go out and flaunt your money and make fun of the hardworking blue-collar people of the great state of Missouri. But you also have to tear down their heroes, Money Mike. You have to shave them bald and embarrass them in front of their friends and family. So I'm just going to give you the floor and try to see if you can somewhat rationale and justify what you guys did to Burt Candy just a couple of days ago, man, because that was downright disrespectful, sir. Flat out.
Well, I tell you what, Burt Candy loved to walk around and flaunt that disgusting cotton candy looking greasy pink hair of his. And I got really tired of seeing it. I got really tired of Burt pandering to the crowd and acting like people actually came to see him at the shows. We know who people came to see. I mean, come on, look at me. Not Burt Candy. I mean, how disgusting. Have you ever seen the dude actually when he takes his shirt off and rolls over on people? It's gross. And there's the pictures right there. So he thought he could actually defeat a member of private practice, Daniel Maxon, who's moved on to bigger and better things now that he's taken care of Burt Candy. But as you see right here, it was actually a celebration that night. I'm actually blowing a noisemaker into the ear of Burt Candy here, just so he realizes, in case he forgotten this moment, who runs the show in New Breed Wrestling. And now that Burt Candy had his head shaved, hopefully we never see that disgusting pink hair again.
Okay, well, then I just ask this question then. What did Burt Candy do to deserve this? I mean, he's a competitor. He's got his own style, but yeah, maybe his hair's a little weird with the cotton candy, whatever. What forces you and your cronies, your associates, your clients to do something like this, Money Mike? Why?
Listen, I paid Burt Candy to do our bidding one night only in Warsaw, Missouri. And he did so. He did a good job. He made sure that private practice looked great that night. And then the next time I saw Burt Candy, I thought we were cool. I thought me and him were on the same page. And instead, he tells me I was a one-night stand. I am nobody's one-night stand. Burt Candy is. That's why he calls himself Mr. One-Night Stand. Burt Candy is a joke in this business. And Burt Candy got what he had coming to him. He could have stayed with the winning team. And instead, he decided to try and make a mockery of us. Who got the mockery made of them when their head got shaved? Not us.
You know, and after that, looking at that picture, after everything that guy did, you know, Mike actually helped him out. He looks better with his head shaved than he did.
Oh, John, cut it out, okay?
So he was just trying to help the man get a damn haircut that he
You're
needed.
right.
What
You're
the
right.
hell are you guys
the money
talking
I
about?
gave him for that one night bought him a lot of candy. So, you know, I'm sure he was happy in the end.
You guys are ridiculous. I can't believe
Whatever.
you guys are having a chuckle at the expense of a hardworking, blue-collar. You know what? Burt Candy is respected. I don't care what you say, Money Mike. Lots of people love Burt Candy. He's getting booked all throughout the Midwest. But I just want to say, I should have thrown this out earlier. The thoughts of one Money Mike Pettis do not reflect the thoughts of the Wrestle Talk podcast. I just wanted to make sure that I said that because some of the things that are going to come out of this guy's mouth are downright disrespectful. Is everyone clear on that? Okay, we're clear on that. Okay. Follow up. I have it on pretty good authority, Mr. Money Mike Pettis, that it's not only Burt Candy and his folk that have an issue with you, okay? We actually got a couple of messages via X, okay, from some local soccer moms in the great state of Missouri, okay? Did you or did you not tell one of these kids at the shows that their mom sold pics of their feet online to pay for their braces, sir? Because I have it on pretty good authority that you said that.
She probably did. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Seriously, I mean, these fans have no money. I mean, the money they do have, they come to the shows and that's great. And they, you know, want to see us, me, of course. But I mean, how else are they going to be paying for these kids' braces? These fans can't even afford deodorant to put it on before they come to the shows.
Gosh. Do you know these people are paying your bill, sir? Do you know that this is how you make money?
I fund myself. I pay for my own wrestlers. Scotty Z doesn't even pay my wrestlers in New Breed Wrestling. I pay my wrestlers. I
So
fund
so
myself.
so Money Mike has FU money, basically is what I'm understanding here. Is
Pretty
that
much.
what's going on?
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's, you know what? I've gotten the quote unquote tough questions out of the way. So I'm gonna try to settle myself down a little bit, and I'll have my man Hardcore Hoss take over. And then when I come back, we're gonna have a good cordial conversation because Mike, you and me, we were like, bro, we hung out at AEW for a couple of minutes. Bro, you were the man as a ring announcer, and then something happened, bro. I don't know if you got the evil eye. I don't know if you've been hanging out with El Diablo. I don't know who the hell you've been hanging out with, but all I know is there's definitely been a change. So I'm going to step back for a moment and let you two gentlemen have the floor. And then when I come back, I'll be composed and I'll be ready to continue this interview. Is that okay with everybody?
All right.
Okay. Whew, I got to breathe.
Some people just can't handle the truth.
Honestly, I was saying earlier, it's guys like yourself and the Snitch and, that just so misunderstood in the world of wrestling.
Right. And I see my friend Stephen E in the chat. Shout out to him as well. Definitely another misunderstood individual in the world of wrestling. We're out there doing the work of many men and leading champions and making sure that people are entertained. Who doesn't love the bad guy, right?
They should. It's just a shame that more people don't see that you're just so misunderstood. It's people.
Honestly, if these people would actually take a cue from me, they might actually make some money. They might actually have a little nest egg to fall back on, maybe something for their children in the future.
So, what is one thing that the whole world should know about Mike Pettis?
That I will do anything and everything to get my way in this business, and I'll go through anybody to do it.
All right. Well, that's understandable. Everybody wants to be at the top. So, but it takes the money to get there.
That's why we carry the heavyweight championship around in New Breed Wrestling as well, and we have for a very long time.
So, unfortunately, though, it seems you've had a bumpy road lately. Unfortunately, you guys have lost the tag titles.
Yeah, we did.
And the O'Neill brothers, they kind of took a loss, unfortunately.
That's okay. I mean, they're not really in private practice. They were just hired for one night to take out that fat, disgusting deadbeat dad, Tyler Bodine. And, unfortunately, they didn't come up with the win that night. Stupid nothing eater Derek Teeter stuck his nose in our business. Again, for some reason, I can't get rid of this guy. And unfortunately, the O'Neill brothers did not walk away with the victory that night. However, from what they did to Tyler Bodine earlier that evening, they got paid.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you got attacked by a damn puppet.
Whoa, we don't talk about that. No, no, that was AI. That's what that was. Yeah.
So after all this stuff on this bumpy road and these unfortunate things, how do you right the ship again and become the dominant factor that you guys have been?
It's a good question. So as I mentioned, we have the heavyweight championship, Dr. Ison, the heavyweight champion of New Breed Wrestling. We've recently acquired the services of Lord Atu in private practice, a man from the state of California, a man who fancies himself more of a brawler, so to speak. So he's not afraid to get in there and mix it up with anybody that I tell him to. And, we have Danny Stratos and Nadia White, two of the best pound for pound wrestlers in the Midwest. We may have hit some bumpy roads. We may have lost the tag team championships. We are still the greatest tag team champions of all time in New Breed Wrestling. We've held those titles more than anybody else, but with the heavyweight championship, there's other titles in New Breed Wrestling. I suppose really we just have to pick more of our spots, figure out who we want to take out next, if we want any more of the gold, and just go after it. I mean, really, no one's been able to stop us as a cohesive unit. Sure, they may have won some matches against us, but when it comes to just the pure power and strength and everything that we possess as a unit in New Breed Wrestling, we've been able to take out anybody we wanted to. no one's been able to stop us.
And
Can't disagree. Can't disagree
Yeah.
with that. Can't disagree. Well, I've calmed myself down a little bit. I stopped thinking about what happened to the Miami Heat in the finals last year against the Nuggets. I kind of erased that. And you know what? I found somewhere where we can start. You and me, Mike, because ring announcer, former ring announcer. We have some common ground. So here's the first thing that I found. I found that amongst all of your different endeavors and businesses, you also dabble a little bit in commentary, doing football commentary. Is that right?
I do, yes.
All right, let's talk about that just a little bit. We'll move away from the rest and then we'll come back to it. So we can go NFL, we can go local. Let's start local. Talk to us a little bit about some of that commentary work that you do. I was kind of checking your page out, and I'm always impressed because that was one of my dreams growing up. I wanted to be either an analyst or a commentator for sports, and I got to live out that dream, just like I think you did, probably as being a ring announcer back in the day, to be a part of this world of professional wrestling in one way or another. But I also have that passion for other sports like basketball or football, man. So how much joy do you get out of calling those games for those kids? I think it's high school football, right, that you do the commentary for. So what's that like in comparison to that passion, that energy that you feel for wrestling? How is it similar and how is it different?
So I've done the commentary for high school football here, actually the play-by-play announcing for, I want to say this is my third or fourth year doing it. And it's a small town here in Missouri where I live, and my day job actually affords me the opportunities to do fun things like that. So I actually get to go out and work out of the booth, be on the radio each Friday night for the kids, and do the play-by-play for the games. I have a color commentator named Dom that works with me, and I've recently actually brought on an intern who's learning how to do the play-by-play as well. This is actually going to be my last year doing it. I've had a lot more opportunities come my way, and it's going to take away from some of my broadcast time. So that being said, I've loved doing it. We go on the road with the kids, and when they're in other towns, we do every single game. And it's kind of cool because not only doing that on the radio, but I've also done Friday afternoon happy hour radio shows every week on our local station, and getting out to go do the live remotes at the sports bars and stuff for that is always fun. And, I've always been able to capture an audience, so to speak, whether it's just with my voice on the radio or just in person. So I've always kind of been the life of the party.
I gotta give you that, bro. Every time I seen you perform or shit, even when I ran into you at that AEW show, you had that like black jean jacket with all the pins. I was like, yo, there goes my dog right there. I think you thought I didn't recognize you. And I was like, yo, that's Mike. I was like, yo, of course I recognize you, bro. I haven't been in New Breed recently just because I've stepped away from wrestling almost completely this year and started kind of wind down last year. But man, come on, bro. Like you and Scotty, man, what can I say? You guys are a class act. So there was another thing that I wanted to ask, and kind of coincides with the question that Susie posted. So you have that passion for high school football. You're going to be stepping away. Congratulations. Sounds like those opportunities are awesome. What about your NFL team? Is there somebody you follow and you support? Me personally, I'm a Chiefs fan. This guy over here is a Raider fan. We do the show together, but it's not by choice. Trust me. Okay. My man Hossy's a hardcore Raider fan. What about you, man? Who do you follow?
So I follow the Chiefs. I don't dislike the Chiefs. I grew up a Chiefs fan about the mid 90s, the Montana Marcus Allen years. And I was watching the Chiefs a lot. And I was a teenager at the time, and I started to get really frustrated with seeing them go to the playoffs every year. And then Montana is just concussed on the sideline, not even knowing what city he's in. And it's just like, oh, here goes another year.
Same thing happened with Trent Green, man.
Yeah. So I started to get really frustrated with them. At the time, the Rams had moved to St. Louis in '94. So I started following the Rams, and kind of casually, I mean, not really hardcore just yet, but it got to the point about 96, 97, where I really started to get into the Rams. And then they just so happened to start getting better and better and win the Super Bowl and had these great years with Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk.
What'd you do with that Chiefs-Rams game where they set the record for most points or something like that in the game? Who were you cheering for in that situation?
Me and my late brother were actually at a Buffalo Wild Wings here in town, and I was the
B-dubs.
only guy wearing a Rams jersey in the whole place.
They must have hated your ass.
I had my Cooper Cup jersey on, I think, or something. No, maybe it was the Cup jersey. And
Nice.
anyhow, there was even some of the wrestling fans from the local shows that had recognized me and everything else. I tend to get recognized a lot in public, but anyhow, so he's there and he's telling me, dude, shut up the whole entire time and everything. And by the end of the night, dude, I'm standing on the rail of the bar, just like slamming my hand, like in your face, dude. And just like they did not like me in there that night. But I was passionate for it. It was my team, you know, and whether you're a Raiders fan or Rams fan or whatever fan you are, if you're around the fans of another team and you guys are watching it together, you just got to respect the game and what's actually happening. You know, we're just cheering them on. We don't have any effect on what's going on at the field. One thing that really pisses me off is whenever we see like fans getting beat up in stadiums and stuff just because they like the opposing teams and whatnot. I mean, I get some of them run their mouths. In the stands, probably should be removed, but
yeah,
sometimes there's a fine line.
I'm going to take some accountability for that. I'm going to be honest with you. You're not going to hear this on any other podcast. Part of the reason that this is happening is because more people where I'm from are starting to go to NFL games, okay? My people, okay, I'm going to be very specific. My Mexican people are notorious for fighting at soccer games. We've done it forever. And since guys like me are stumped, I'm just telling you, bro, it's not that we're bad guys. It's just we get rowdy, we drink. We're like Irishmen. We're like that. You get a couple too many pints, and we're ready to throw hands. Listen, the Cowboy fan, I don't know if you guys saw, there was some of that at the Cowboys game, also at some of the Raiders games. So I want to apologize on behalf of the Mexican congregation for all the additional violence in the stands. I hope my brothers will find peace and maybe switch to light beer. That's all I want to suggest for my people because it's getting a little crazy out there. I'm like, guys, stop fighting. You paid $250 for these tickets. What are you doing? Yeah, it's all bad. It's all bad.
You know, it's not always the Mexicans.
No, it's not always us, but we're contributing. We're upping our share on a yearly basis. I'm just letting you know because I know.
It's just like a few years ago. I actually went to a game. It was Redskins versus Raiders, and it was here in Landover, Maryland.
Oh, damn.
And I went to the game, and there was these guys sitting right behind me. Okay. They were so drunk. And they were, of course, Redskins fans. And I was actually sitting on what's considered the home side. And they kept sitting there the whole game. And the first half, the Raiders were losing. And they were being so annoying.
I can already imagine.
And they were running 3 and 4 rows up. And getting in the face of Raiders fans and, what's that? What's that? What's your team doing? Yeah, this is an easy, and just causing all the commotion they could cause. But the funny thing was they wouldn't start anything with me.
Well, then, yeah.
Then after halftime, like I say, it's been several years ago. This is when Norv Turner was still our coach. And after halftime, everything turned around, and next thing you know, they were just quiet as could be, and they didn't want to say a word after that, and so and they were actually white guys. They weren't.
Oh no! Hey, don't get me wrong. There's shit starters of all ranks. I'm not saying that, but I know what's happening, bro. Because the soccer fans are starting to become football fans. Listen to what I'm telling you, and we have always been known, just like the people in the UK. They've been known to throw hands at live sporting events. I'm telling you, I just hope it doesn't translate to wrestling at some point because I like to take my kids to wrestling. I think it's kind of a safe haven. There's a lot of really chill people there. I just hope it doesn't translate. And you know what? This is a great transition because, Mike, switching back to wrestling, that heat, that shit talking, it doesn't always work out the way you want it to, right? Like no. Right? So let's talk about that a little bit, right? Like peel the curtain back just slightly. So when you made this transition, were you aware that you were going to actively have to go agitate the people that had been cheering for you? Because you did what? You did ring announcing for 2-3 years before you decided to get into management, right?
Yeah.
You got to talk us through the psychology of that transition because a lot of people attempt it and then it falls flat. But for you, it's working, bro. Because, I mean, look at this. Stephen E's like, I'm competing with this guy for contracts. You got a contract that he wanted, and he's happy for you because he knows the kind of business that you do. So see if you can bounce off that, because I'm curious to know what that transition, that process is that so many people attempt but don't always succeed in doing.
Let me go back to the ring announcing. So I had a wrestler come to me last weekend. We did a show in Eldon, and he's a younger one that just started a couple of years ago, very popular in the area. I won't mention him by name, but he actually came up to me because he's only seen me do the managing. And he said, bro, I've been watching some of the old YouTube shows, and you've been doing the ring announcing on those shows. He's like, you're one of the best ring announcers I ever saw. And it made me feel good because I felt like I was a really good ring announcer. And I was really passionate about what I did and made sure I was very specific in bringing the guys out to the ring, announcing them as the champion, putting the inflection in my voice, and being a part of the show when I needed to be one. You know, even as a ring announcer, I got roughed up a couple of times, and I knew that was what was asked of me, so that's what I did. When I became a manager, I was aware that I would have to piss the fans off. And I knew that my smartassness could translate over into that very well. I'm very good on the fly. I really don't practice anything I'm going to say. I don't have an agenda. I know that I want to hit this topic, this topic, this topic. I go out to the ring with my guys. I grab the microphone. I do it. There was part of the transition that it took some of the fans to really start not treating me like I was still there to shake their hand and everything else. Even though during intermissions and stuff, I'll sign autographs and I'll take pictures and whatnot. But it took them a while to where they would start booing me more than trying to be very cordial with me while I'm coming out there. And I'll be honest, like, I've been swung on. I've been attempted to have been tackled. I've had kids swing on me. I've had old ladies scream and spit at me. I've had things thrown at me. I've had moms flip me off and cuss me out. There's there's a lot, you know. And at the time, like, I've had to drop a guy on his ass because he actually tried to get in my way during a show from ringside. You know, we were doing a show. We didn't have the metal barricades at this show. We had the ropes, and they were separating the fans from the ring, and they hung kind of low, and they kind of went into a downward arch. Well, I'm getting chased at ringside by Hard Luck Hal Rogers because I keep interfering in the match. I keep pulling him off the apron. He'll chase me around the ring a little bit.
Did he have that big wrench with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how Hard Luck gets down, bro. I know.
Yeah. And so this guy, as I'm coming around the corner, I look up, and I'm wearing cowboy boots, so I can slide. And so I look straight up, and this guy has pushed himself over, like, with the rope and is standing there like this. And first instinct, I mean, we're taught to protect ourselves. I just like that and just dropped him. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Get over there.
Yeah, what are you doing, dude? So, of course, security has to go take care of it and everything. But did this idiot think we were giving him a contract for trying to stop me or something? I mean, come on. If you're a fan, you're going to these shows, and it goes back to the level to down below. Yeah. If you try and touch us or put yourself into the action in any sense, even on a manager standpoint, we are taught to protect ourselves. You cannot hit us. You cannot try to tackle us. You cannot do things like that. You know, it goes back to the territory days, and we were taught that way back then too, because people would bring knives to the arenas. You never knew what would happen. So, you know, going into the manager mindset, I knew I would have to piss people off. I knew I'd have to say things that would cause that reaction in people. It's fun, but, you know, at the same time, dealing with the cause and effect of it, sometimes you just have to have your head on a swivel at all times. There's a lot of times I don't go out for intermissions in the shows anymore, just because
got to keep that going.
Well, it's that, and I don't want that interaction when there's a lot of people. You know, with the times that I've made people so mad, if there's crowds of people in front of us and stuff, and I can't see everyone at one time, I'll take myself out of the situation. I might go out for a couple seconds or something and say hi to a couple of people I know, and that's about it. But I used to try and sell gimmicks and things like that, and I really just stopped doing it because I kind of felt more safe not being out there. And that's sad to say.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're bringing that up because I remember an instance at a show. There was a particular talent, very, very talented young man, that just had this habit of doing the water bottle thing and then chucking the water bottle in the air halfway, through the entrance. And a couple of times fans got irritated because the water bottle would like hit them on the shoulder and wet their kid or whatever. And during that intermission, that particular talent decided to not go out because there was already a volatile situation, right, with a client. That's what they are. They're customers, right?
Right.
Fans, whatever you want to call them. So, yeah, sometimes it's better to keep yourself away. And if you're drawing that kind of heat where you're talking about these kids' moms and how she pays for their braces, then I applaud you for taking yourself out of the situation, bro. Because I don't know how I would like somebody talking about my kid, whether they were in character or not. I'm like, hey, take it easy, bro. You talking about my wife now.
Right. And
so there's a very fine line
on
there's a fine line on your side, and there's a very fine line on their side as well.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just like a small sample of like some of the things I've said and did out there. And
Awesome.
I mean, you can go back and watch the New Breed Wrestling YouTube channel and see a lot of the stuff that I did over the years after turning heel. But I mean, once I got to the point where I was trusted enough and given the microphone and said, just go make them mad. So that way, when you get punched in the mouth later, they're going to get out of their seat and cheer, and that's what a heel does. And that's what a heel manager does. I've been put in matches, where it's had to be, I go get my headset and I put it on and I strap up and I'm ready to go. And it's just for the fun of it though. And
you said you did bumps as a ring announcer too, right? Like whatever was called upon you, you were like, hey, I'm in.
Nothing serious, like, just
taking
being
a tumble
grabbed
here and
and thrown in a corner or having to have the guys knock into me and things like that, or just
intimidate you pretty aggressively, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I never minded doing that. I always told the guys, if it's something that I can help you with to get you over, just let me know ahead of time and we can make it happen. So
speaking of the guys, look who decided to teleport himself into this realm and make a brief hello to the Wrestle Talk podcast. Shout out to El Diablo, one of the hottest, probably hottest guy in the Midwest, and one of the hardest working as well. A lot of respect for him. A lot of respect for El Diablo. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I gave you the opportunity because you've been very cordial to me since I had the opportunity to catch my breath. Because I still, honestly, Mike, I don't like a lot of your tactics, but I do have respect for what you've done in the business. So I'll leave it there. Private practice. The talent continues to grow. Everyone lose matches. Michael Jordan didn't win every game he played, right, guys? As far as I know, only the 72 Dolphins went undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like almost no one's perfect. Talk to me about private practice and what you've got going on as far as the talent there, but some of the guys that are contending against you, because I know just as much as you got to keep an eye on your guys, you got to keep an eye on the guys that are trying to knock you off. So talk to us a little bit about that talent pool down in New Breed. Who's hot, who's not? Who are you keeping your eye on, man?
So when you went to go catch your breath, me and Hardcore Haas were actually talking about private practice. And, we've got the heavyweight champion, Dr. Eisen, and very talented individual. You can see him all over the Midwest. And we've also got Lord Atu that Stephen E. had mentioned earlier that he wished he had signed that contract. And I got in there first. He came in from California, and I had some conversations with him actually for a little over a year before we finally got him into New Breed Wrestling and got him in with private practice. I saw the potential in him. I'd been watching some of his stuff for a while, and when we got him into New Breed, I immediately got him into private practice. We recently lost Daniel Maxson. Maxson was with us for quite a while, and very hardcore-minded individual, wasn't afraid to bleed, wasn't afraid to do the dirty work of private practice. Once he got taken care of Bert and Candy, and now he's moved on to bigger and better things. But we've recently this year also got Danny Stratos and Nadia White, individuals you can see more in the St. Louis, Cape Girardeau side of Missouri a lot, but they have done a lot of things over on this side as well, and they're starting to travel more around the United States. So a lot more people are getting eyes on Danny and Nadia. And if you've never seen Danny compete in the ring, it's something to see. He's a throwback to the old technical wrestlers of old, and blows my mind some of the things he can do in the ring. We've had a couple other individuals who've recently left. Kurt Gannon, he was in private practice for since the beginning, and recently he's teamed up with Leo Fox as the Weapons of Mass Destruction. I know they were on the show here recently, and kind of a thorn in our side, but Kurt decided he wanted to go with Leo instead. We had the tag team titles at the time. He decided he'd better go win them with Leo. So maybe he will, maybe he won't. Not while I'm watching. And, Derek Teeter, it was the commissioner of New Breed Wrestling for a long time here. Recently come back to the ring. He was injured for a while. He's got 2 bad wheels. I don't know if they're completely good to go or not. But he's been a real pain in our side.
I know you're not the biggest fan.
No.
Right.
And I tell you what, the Silverback Joe Helms, he's popped up in New Breed recently.
Big bad man.
Yeah, whenever I hit him in the back with my cane, he actually broke it.
Why did you even try to do that? Come on, man. You're a smart guy. Why would you do that, man?
It knocked him down.
Well,
he had his back turned. I saw an opportunity.
Down, not out.
No, he got back up pretty quick.
Right.
He's a big dude, like you said. But anyhow, him and Teeter, they got the tag team titles from us recently. So we're trying to figure that out. Who else has been a pain in our butts lately? Burt Cameron and that stupid puppet of his.
You didn't even want to talk about that earlier.
I didn't. And I really don't. That puppet's got it coming. And that puppet attacked me. And I had to go make sure I had my shots because of that puppet. So Burt Cameron, I was glad earlier in the night I got to hit him in the head with a wooden toilet seat. Not a plastic one, a wooden one. Those things hurt, let me tell you.
Only in wrestling.
I know, right? It was an anything goes match, and I just happened to find a toilet seat under the ring. So, who else? I don't know. There's always guys that are just in our way. I mean, Slammer, always in our way.
Oh, dear goodness.
El Diablo, we haven't actually heard much from El Diablo recently, so I don't have any beef with El Diablo right now. I mean, it's been a while since we've really our paths have crossed, and we've just kind of kept to ourselves. And I respect El Diablo and what he does in the ring. It's always good to see what he does in there. A couple other people, Hard Luck Hal, as I mentioned earlier, he's kind of stayed away from us as well. Shai Lynn,
the shooter.
That's a pain in my ass right there. She had that women's title.
She's doing it in Kansas too. I saw it at Heartland recently as well. Shout out to Billy and his guys. But yeah, dude, she's a killer.
I've had Kelsey Magnolia and I've had Nadia White try to get that belt off of Shai Lynn. And it finally took a draw between her and Nadia, and Scotty Z made the belt vacant. So there's no women's champion now. And I'm hoping
Scott,
we can get that for private practice.
Call me before you make these decisions, man. There are other ways. The champ never lost, decision. Scotty. Champ, come on, man. This is where I got to be on your side a little bit here, Mike. I mean, come on, Scott. Come on, bro. There are other ways.
Yeah.
But Shooter is incredibly talented, and I'll say this, full-fledged, we better enjoy her while we have her in our area because, and Dean and the boys know how I feel. That girl is going to reach incredible heights, and she's going to represent the Midwest very, very well internationally, I think, probably before anything else. And I'm excited because we saw Brene. If you remember, Brene, who's now down in NXT, like she kind of was in that neck of the woods with you guys and up here in Kansas City. So it's cool to watch these kids do their thing, man. I'm sure you still get a kick out of that, right? Watching them come in at 17, 18, 19, 20, and then by 25, 26, you're like, oh, shit. I mean, even Kurt, right? Like him and Leo like that, buddy, right now. And good for them. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, you never know who's going to be the next big stars. I mean, there's proof of the guys who came through here with Harley Race and, other promotions like Brene. Brene was great. And, she became a close personal friend of all of us in New Breed, or at least a good portion of us that she had done a lot of shows with. And I remember working the very last show that she did with New Breed. Actually, the very last show she did was a New Breed show before she went to NXT.
It was.
And being able to chat with her for a little bit. Everyone wanted to talk to her and get pictures with her and stuff, and we all did that. And she came up to me, and I don't know who this was, but she came up to me and she goes, when you were the ring announcer, you were the very first person to actually get my name right, pronouncing it. I don't know how people were pronouncing it or what they were doing it, but she's like, you were the very first person to actually get it right. That felt good. I mean, I didn't even ask her. I just said it, but I don't know where that came from, but I thought that was pretty cool that she remembered that.
I think so too. I know she doesn't have that complaint on commentary because when I did commentary for KCXW for a while, I was always her biggest supporter, and I would never mispronounce her name because Brene. I mean, it's like, it sounds the same. But yeah, it's always awesome to watch these guys progress and do their thing. And some of them seem to not forget where they came from. They always kind of have an homage. I don't know if you've seen her. She'll have an homage to Kansas City every once in a while in some of her gear and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, that's so awesome because you don't expect people to stay humble, but then they do. And it's always pleasant, So, yeah, I'm with you. Cool. I'd love to see them move along. John, you know how I am, bro. I could talk to Money Mike all night. This dude is a great communicator. Obviously a passion for the sport and loves the people that he works with, though, again, very willing to go outside the box when it comes to getting W's for him and his associates. Did you have anything else before we go into the closing segment of the show during the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge? John, what do you got for us?
You make it sound so bad that he'll go outside the box. It's just taking the opportunities that he sees.
You're an Al Davis guy, bro. You're an Al Davis guy. What can I say? I expect this from you.
You got to do what you got to do to get the job done. Hey. And that's what he does.
Don't respect it.
I was taught from a very young age, whether it's my personal life, wrestling, whatever else, when you see an opportunity, you take it.
Exactly.
But you don't have to take a man's hair. Have some decency. Some of us don't have any hair. If I had hair and you shaved it off, I would never forgive you, Money Mike. Never. My heart goes out to Burt Candy, man, for real. Him and Dennis. Him and Dennis, because I know you weren't real nice to Dennis either.
No.
What are you laughing about? That's not funny.
Speaking from a man that actually has hair. So, I mean, in my 40s and still full head going. I mean, it's glorious. But anyhow, how do I say that?
Very, very impressive.
Yeah, it was really fun. Also, after we shaved Bert's head, because we were taking turns, me and Ison and Daniel shaving his head.
Why did I even bring this back up?
The best part was grabbing the clumps of hair from the ring and throwing them onto the fans at ringside. Like, there's your hero. Take that home with you.
See, he was giving them souvenirs.
Exactly, for free. Didn't even charge him for it.
Never drew a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime.
I can't. All right, can we get into the game show challenge? I don't know what to do with you guys anymore. I feel like it's a 2-on-1. I'm going to be honest. Okay, I feel like I'm going against two Raider fans. I can't believe we like the same team.
I would never be a Raider fan. I'm going to put that out there right now.
Right. But you are a fan of an LA team, so that's close enough.
I am.
Close enough. Congrats on your Super Bowl, by the way.
I won't hold the fact that you're not a Raider fan against you.
Shut up, John.
I appreciate that.
Hey, Stafford. Last quick thing, and go back to football. Did you ever watch the longest ever NFL Films highlight of all time?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you seem like a real football fan. It's with Matt Stafford. I'm not going to spoil it. I have a special place in my heart for Matt Stafford after that clip. So it's from his Lions days. Whenever you get a chance, just type in NFL Films Matt Stafford longest clip. And you'll be it's incredible what the kid does. So when he won the Super Bowl, I was actually kind of happy for you guys, and I'm glad it wasn't against us. So
he's money.
Oh, dude, such a cannon! Out of here, yep. John. Are we going to do the game show challenge or what? Let's do it.
If you'll quit flapping long enough, sure.
My gosh, I'm just trying to entertain our guest. Okay, jeez Louise. We do have a couple of comments real quick before we go. Okay. Susie, got some lady fans in here tonight too, my guy.
Happens everywhere I go, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but I'm taking
Swifts. Okay, let's not talk about Taylor Swift tonight, please, bro. I've had enough. I've had
Now,
enough.
she's mentioning that she'd have fun with him because she is the type of fan. It's like we have a heel manager in this area. His ring name is El Diablo Rojo.
Okay, El Diablo Rojo.
And it used to be when he came out, he would bring a water bottle with him, and he pierced the top of that water bottle. And as the match was going on, he'd start to throw his hands, and of course the water bottle would be leaking as he's throwing his hands. And he always tended to squirt Susie with it. Every time he'd squirt her. And so finally, the promoter told her, if he's going to squirt you, squirt him back. So she's the type of fan that she brought the bottle to the next show. She pierced the top of it. He squirted her. She got up and chased him to the back, squirting him the whole way.
Hey, Mike, I'm sure you would get a kick out of that, man.
That'd be hilarious.
When they give it back to you the same way you give it to them, man, there's nothing better than that.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to all the grannies. Every promotion I've ever been to has like a granny, whether it's Granny Hulkster. Dude, they're so great.
We have one that she has the glasses and she has the dark hair and it's real short. And she stands up and she's loud the entire show. And she just tries to let me have it the whole entire show. And finally, one day when I finally got her to be quiet, I had to tell her, gosh, what was it? I think it was "Shut Up, You Peggy Hill Lookalike."
Peggy Hill?
Yeah, Peggy Hill.
Oh, dude.
And she just didn't even know what to say. She was just like, and then,
excuse me?
Yeah.
Real quick. Oh, wait a minute. Conspiracy theories abound here. Is Money Mike and Sonny Money related?
Why is he going to insult Mike like that?
I'm going to have to agree there. Sonny's a little bit of a weirdo. So, I don't know.
I met Sonny once or twice, if I remember correctly. Yeah, definitely no relation. So.
Yeah, no doubt. No, yeah. Well, I've met him a few times, and he smells like spoiled meatballs and shoe powder. That's
all right.
Oh my gosh! Let's go. Game show challenge. Let's do it.
All right, we have a segment we call our world famous game show challenge, where you are asked questions about a specific wrestling topic, and we would like you to participate in it tonight, and you would be going against the Night Owl, Renee Martinez. So would you be interested in participating?
Sure.
So trivia challenge, right?
That's correct. So
okay, man.
We got a little music. You want to cue up our music while I get into my hosting?
What are you going to change outfits or something? What do you?
No,
of course. I got you. Game show challenge music coming right up, buddy. You got it.
Fucking bullshit!
Oh, wait, that's not in my bad. All right, here it goes.
Welcome to this week's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants tonight are Money Mike Pettis and Wrestle Talk Podcast's own The Night Owl, Renee Martinez. In a few moments, I will ask you 3 questions about a particular professional wrestling topic. Whenever you think you know the answer, just shout it out. The first person to win 2 out of 3 falls wins tonight's Game Show Challenge. Tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is the Hall of Fame. I will give you information about 3 professional wrestler personalities that are in at least one major Hall of Fame. When you think you know who I'm talking about, shout out that person. The first person to win 2 out of 3 falls wins tonight's contest. Are we both clear on the instructions?
Yeah.
Okay. So you give us the clues, and if we think we know the answer, we just shout it out.
That's correct.
And do we have a limit on how many times we can shout it out, or is it just
keep shouting until you get it right?
Okay. Gotcha. Got to be quick on the trigger. I'm ready.
And don't worry, we'll mute Renee's mic if we have to. All right. Question number 1. This late professional wrestler was a former AWA World Heavyweight Champion, a 2-time WWF Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. That is correct. Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig.
Dude, I've been watching wrestling since like the early 80s nonstop. Just bring it on.
Next one, please. Can we move on?
So Money Mike Pettis is up 1-0. This late professional wrestler was a former NWA Television United States Champion.
Hold on, television and United States?
It says NWA Television and United States Champion and a former WWF Intercontinental and World Tag Team Champion. In addition to being a member of the Tragos Hall of Fame, this wrestler gave his nickname to Ronda Rousey.
Oh, Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper.
Money Mike Pettis got it first.
Got him! Got him!
The TV title threw me off. I didn't remember he was a TV champion, but okay.
All right.
I think I got that one first, but that's fine. The judges have final say.
Bring on
I
the
want to
third
go back
one.
and check.
I'm
going back and checking the tape, Mike. I know what money does, bro. I'm not naive. I'm just letting you know.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Even though Mike has already won the game show challenge, we'll go ahead and do the third question just to see if you can get one correct and not get swept.
Why you treat me like a dummy?
Hey man, you said it earlier. You can't win every time.
Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah.
John, stop playing with the drops, bro. I'm tired of you at this point right now, okay? I'm ready. I'm not getting swept tonight. It's guaranteed. Just watch.
All right. So question number 3. This member of the Tragos and WWE Hall of Fame held the WCW United States Heavyweight Champion and the WWF Tag Team Champion, the IWGP Tag Team Champion, the NWA WCW Tag Team Champion, and NWA World Television Champion. He also is an accomplished amateur wrestler at the University of Michigan and is the father of Braun Breaker.
Oh, Rick Steiner.
The Night Owl has been swept, ladies and gentlemen. So we have a little bit of winter music here for you. You want to hit that music, guys, in the back?
No. No, we don't.
Congratulations, Money Mike Pettis, on sweeping Renee the Night Owl Martinez in tonight's game show challenge.
Not the easiest questions, but thank you.
Congratulations, sir. And it's been a privilege to have you. And before we end everything tonight, give a shout out to all your social media, where we can follow you and where we can see you next.
Well, I tell you what, I don't actually do in-character social medias, but I am on Facebook. And honestly, I prefer you'd rather just go onto the New Breed Wrestling Facebook page, find us on X, find us on Instagram, check out all the things where it's going on in New Breed Wrestling. You can also watch our weekly shows. You can even go back and watch the last 3 years of our weekly television shows. Just search NBW Squared Circle on YouTube, and you get to see me make fun of all sorts of people, plus catch some good wrestling.
All right. Well, our fans will be sure to check you out there. And it's always a privilege to have, someone of your stature in our Wrestle Talk podcast family. So always love having you. And it has been a pleasure to have you here tonight. So any closing remarks you'd like to give to our Wrestle Talk podcast family?
Yes, make sure you catch us in Sedalia, Missouri, November 18th. If you thought you had seen the biggest, baddest thing I could do so far, what I have planned for November 18th has been brewing for a long time, and you ain't seen bad yet.
Oh my gosh. You are insufferable. I mean, seriously, bro. I'm upset that this was a contractual obligation between the Wrestle Talk podcast and New Breed Wrestling, but I guess I'm honored that you honored the commitment because I fully didn't even expect you to show up. So congratulations to you for sweeping me. I think you paid off the judges. Again, I'm going to go back and check the tape, but in conclusion, I'll say this. Continue to do what you're doing because people are talking. And I'm always glad to host somebody who's moving and shaking in the world of professional wrestling. So thank you, sir, ultimately, for being here. Thank you. Round of applause for my guy here. Please, everybody. Make some noise. John?
You root for the wrong NFL team, Renee.
Not as of recent history.
You cry like a Cowboys fan.
Whoa, but I win like a Chiefs fan. So remember that. Mike, be safe out there, man, and keep giving them hell, all right?
Will do.
Have a good night, brother. Peace.
Night. Thanks for coming.
Wow. I didn't think I was going to get that much out of the interview because Mike Pettis, he's very business focused and sometimes not the most cordial guy, but I think we got a lot more out of that interview than I initially expected. Hardcore Hoss, am I right about that, or am I not?
It was a great interview. I really enjoyed it, and I learned a lot about Mike and everything. And it's always a pleasure to have people on like him. He makes things a lot of fun when you're around. So.
Well, the biggest thing for me is to make sure that everybody takes a moment and looks up New Breed Wrestling on all your social media platforms. They are on X, they are on Facebook, and in particular YouTube. I think Money Mike said something about 3 years worth of content. You can see him as a ring announcer and to his transition as a manager. I think that's always something that's really cool. And I know everybody's like pro wrestling palette is different. And like we were talking about, right? You were like, well, I haven't seen that much NWA. There's only so much time in a day. But if you guys do get a chance, make sure you go check out New Breed Wrestling. Scotty, Mike, they had the Wyatt Memorial Battle Royal, which we didn't get a chance to talk about either. Somebody who I got a chance to meet before he passed away. And he was our initial contact in New Breed Wrestling, actually. And that's since been passed on to Scotty and to Mike, but great relationship. And more than anything, John, I love to see that they give all these bright, talented people an opportunity to do what they love and perform. And you never know, right? Like we talked about during the interview, they're just your local guys and gals. And then one day they end up on NXT. And even if it doesn't become that, it's still cool to watch them express themselves and kind of live out their dreams by working and performing in professional wrestling. Like it still always wows me to watch these kids do what they do. It's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And even if they don't end up on NXT, you still see a lot of them. They end up on SmackDown or Raw where they're in the ring and people just say, "Look at that jobber," but that's still big to those guys, and it's still
huge,
something special to be able to see somebody that you've watched go through the indies even be a jobber on television. It really is something special to them and to the fans and
to us. Yeah.
It's it's wonderful to see stuff like that when it happens. So,
well, life definitely ebbs and flows. That's why it's so important to take a moment and stop and smell the roses, because not everywhere on your path is there going to be green grass and red roses. So when you do see them, take a moment, pause, and enjoy them. Thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 455 of the Wrestle Talk podcast. John, I know we had some rocky waters to begin the show, but I'll say this: definitely one for the books. And next week we've got another amazing guest. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to keep drizzling out information, but for ongoing content or every single past show, make sure to visit all of our social media platforms, in particular YouTube, where all these shows are being streamed. And if you need anything else from us, holler at us, man. We'd love to have you join us on the show. We'd love to have you as a sponsor. And more importantly, we'd love to have you guys as members of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Let's go ahead and get out of here, John. Have a good night, and I'll catch you this Thursday for the FWWC Tonight, featuring the CEO and the hardcore champ himself, Hardcore Hoss. Hit me with that FWWC one more time, brother, please.
FWWC. That's right.
That's right. Good night, everybody.
Very, very impressive.
Peace. Let's hit it.
Night.
Good night.